The veganine sky shimmered like liquid silver when the USS Horizon descended through the thick clouds. Lieutenant Ethan Ward stood by the viewing glass of the landing bay, watching lightning ripple through violet storms far below. He had spent 7 years traveling across colonies, but he had never seen a world like this one alive, glowing, and full of strange harmonies that hummed through the air like distant music. The crew said it was just the planet's ion field. Ethan wasn't so sure. It felt aware the mission had been clear. Humanity's expansion had reached the Vega system, and for the first time, contact had been made with an intelligent alien race, the Thaleri. Their technology was advanced, yet their culture was full of mystery and ritual. The Earth's alliance wanted peace, trade, and information. Ethan had been chosen as one of the negotiators because he had something others didn't: patience. He could listen longer than he spoke, and in diplomacy, that was gold. When the landing doors opened, warm air brushed against his face. The scent was strange, like rain on metal and something floral underneath. The Thaleri delegation waited ahead, standing beneath crystalline pillars that glowed faintly in rhythm with their heartbeats. Ethan had read their files. They were tall, elegant beings with smooth, sea-green skin, hair like soft threads of light, and eyes that changed hue with emotion. But even with preparation, he hadn't been ready for Sarai. She was the youngest of the delegation, but clearly their speaker. Her posture was regal, her voice like soft wind through leaves. Yet there was sharp intelligence behind her calm gaze. When she looked at Ethan, it was as if she saw not just his uniform, but everything inside him. The trade meeting began inside a massive dome made of clear crystal. Holographic charts floated in midair, showing resources and terms. Ethan tried to stay focused, but something kept pulling his attention to Ceres Chestnut out of attraction, but confusion. Right in the center of her ceremonial armor glowed a silver emblem. It was the Earth's Alliance insignia, circle of 13 stars surrounding a stylized globe. It couldn't be. This was their first recorded contact. How could she be wearing that? He leaned forward slightly, his brows drawn. The resemblance was exact. Same shape, same pattern. Even the smallest star points were identical. His mind raced through possibilities: coincidence, cultural mimicry, or maybe, no, impossible. Sarai noticed his stare. Her blue-green eyes narrowed, shifting color to deep indigoa, a sign of irritation among her kind. The other Thaleri glanced at her, uncertain. She spoke in perfect translated English, her tone calm but cold. "Why do you keep staring at my chest, human?" The room fell silent. Even the translation units hesitated before echoing her words aloud. Every eye turned to Ethan. For a moment, his brain forgot how to function. His face warmed as he realized how it must have looked. His mouth opened, but words stumbled out like tangled wire. It's not, I mean, he stopped. Exhaled slowly and started again, steady this time. "That symbol. On your armor. We have it too. It's from Earth." Sarai tilted her head. "This," she touched the glowing emblem lightly. "It is the mark of the chosen star. It was given to our ancestors by those who came from the dark between suns. You claim it belongs to your world." "It's ours," Ethan said carefully. "Or at least it used to be. We call it the Alliance Seal. Every human ship carries it." The room filled with quiet whispers among the Thaleri. Their voices sounded like wind through glass. Sarai's eyes flickered brighter, confusion mixing with disbelief. "That cannot be," she said. "The chosen star came to us long before your species learned to walk upright." Ethan's heartbeat quickened. "Then maybe you met us before," he said softly. She studied him for a long moment. Then, without another word, she turned and spoke in her own tongue. 2 guards approached. "You will come with me?" she said finally. "There is something you must see." They walked through winding halls made of living crystal. The walls pulsed gently, giving off light as if the whole structure was breathing. Sarai said nothing, and Ethan followed, his boots echoing softly. He wanted to speak, to ask, but every instinct told him silence was wiser. After several turns, they entered a circular chamber. A pool of silver liquid shimmered at its center. Sarai knelt beside it and placed her hand on the surface. Light rippled outward, forming images above the pool maps of stars, diagrams, symbols older than recorded history. "This is the Hall of Memories," she said quietly. "It keeps the records of those who came before us." Ethan stepped closer. The star maps rotated slowly, glowing with faint warmth. Then he saw atoming the countless constellations. One cluster looked familiar. The Sol system, Earth, Mars, Luna. It was there, perfectly marked in the center of an ancient map drawn 10,000 years ago. His breath caught. "That's impossible." Sarai looked at him. "These were drawn by the first ones, the ones who gave us the mark you wear. They called themselves humans. You are not the first to bear that name." Ethan stood frozen. The implication shook him to his core. Humanity wasn't discovering the Thaleri, they were rediscovering them. Sarai's voice softened. "Our legends say they came from the cold sky, when our world was dying. They gave us warmth, then vanished beyond the stars. For millennia we waited, believing they would return. You wear their symbol. You speak their language. But how could your kind have forgotten us?" Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "Maybe because we never knew. Our records show nothing about this. Maybe it was one ship, one lost crew, something that never made it home." Sarai rose gracefully, her eyes dimming to Grotha, color of doubt. "Stories can lie, but symbols do not. If you truly share the mark, then perhaps you carry what we lost." Before he could answer, a deep vibration rolled through the floor. The crystal walls flickered. Sarai turned sharply. "The storm is returning. We must leave this place." They hurried through corridors as lightning flared outside. The energy storm above Viganine was known to appear without warning, cutting communication and trapping anyone on the surface for days. The Horizon crew tried to contact Ethan, but the signal vanished in static. By the time they reached the surface gates, heavy winds had already begun tearing through the plains. Sarai motioned toward a smaller chamber. "We will shelter there. The storm will pass in 2 rotations. 2 rotations," Ethan repeated. "That's almost 40 hours. She glanced at him. "You fear the wind?" He smiled faintly. "No, just the silence." Inside the chamber, the air shimmered faintly with blue light. The door sealed behind them, muffling the storm's howl. Ethan sat on the floor, resting his back against the wall. Sarai stood near the center, her silhouette outlined by soft radiance. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, she asked, "Do your people still follow the ones who came before?" He looked up. "We don't follow anyone. We make our own path. Maybe that's why we forgot." Sarai lowered herself to sit across from him. "On Viganine, forgetting is the greatest shame. We remember everything. Every birth, every loss. Perhaps your people run too fast to see what they left behind." Her words stung a little because they were true. Humanity had rushed across the stars, building, conquering, claiming. But maybe in their hunger for the future, they had lost pieces of their past. He looked again at the emblem on her chest. The glow pulsed softly in the dark like a heartbeat. "If that really came from humans," he said, "then maybe we owe your people more than we realize." Sarai tilted her head. "Or maybe we owe you. Without them, we would have perished. The chosen star brought light to our world." Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe we just shared a little fire." The storm outside roared louder, shaking the chamber. A flash of lightning filled the room with white light. When it faded, Sarai was still watching him, her eyes a softer blue now, less guarded. "You are different from the others," she said quietly. "You listen? It's a good habit for a negotiator," he replied. "Bad habit for a warrior," she countered. A hint of amusement in her tone. He chuckled. "Then it's a good thing I'm not fighting you." The faintest smile touched her lips. Not yet. Hours passed. The two shared stories to keep the silence away. Ethan spoke of Earth's blue oceans and endless skies. Sarai told him of Viga's crystal forests and the rivers that sang. The more they spoke, the more the distance between their worlds seemed to shrink. At one point, she asked, "When you're kind to look at the stars, what do you feel?" He thought for a moment. Hope, he said finally. And fear. Because every light out there could be a friend. Or a threat. She nodded slowly. Then we are not so different. The storm began to fade near dawn. Through the crystalline ceiling, faint sunlight spilled in, turning Cerie's hair into strands of gold and green. Ethan watched the light move across her face, realizing that the alien beauty before him no longer felt alien at all. She was just alive, intelligent, curious, like him. Cerie noticed his gaze again. Her tone was teasing this time. You stare too much, human, he smiled. Still not for the reason you think? Her eyes flickered brighter. Then perhaps I will learn the truth before this storm ends. He didn't answer. Outside, thunder rolled like distant drums. In that moment, Ethan felt something shift deep inside him, not love. Not yet, but understanding. The kind that builds bridges where none existed before. He didn't know it then. But that single conversation, the misunderstanding, but a symbol would change not only their fates, but the history of both species. When the storm finally ended, the air outside shimmered with calm light. The sky over Veganine looked washed clean, streaked with soft gold and violet. The crystal domes reflected the new dawn like mirrors. Ethan and Cerie stepped out of the shelter slowly, both squinting at the brightness. The ground still glowed faintly from the storm's energy. Giving everything an otherworldly shine, Ethan's communicator crackled for the first time in almost 2 days. Lieutenant Ward, do you read? Horizon here, signal restored. He pressed the button. I read you. I'm safe. I'm with the Thaleri delegation leader. Situation under control. The voice on the other end sighed in relief. Copy that. We've got readings of massive energy spikes near your position. What happened down there? Ethan glanced at Cerie, who stood beside him silently. We found something. Ancient, he said. I'll report when I'm back aboard. The link went quiet. Cerie turned her gaze to the rising sun. You speak to your sky voices as if they are always listening, she said softly. He smiled. Most of the time they are, and when they're not, we pretend they are. She tilted her head, as if tasting his words. Pretend, she repeated. A strange strength your people have, believing in something even when it hides. They began walking toward the main city again, through streets carved from living quartz. Thaleri citizens stopped to stare at the human and their envoy walking side by side. Some bowed to Cerie, but many whispered behind their hands. Ethan noticed the glances, but said nothing. He knew what it was like to be the outsider. He had felt it even among his own crew, as they entered the central hall. Cerie's mentor, an elder named Veltron, approached. His hair was silver like starlight, and his eyes carried centuries of wisdom. You defied the Council's shelter orders, he said sternly to Cerie. You endangered the envoy. Cerie bowed slightly. The human was in my care. I chose to keep him alive. Veltron's expression softened just a little. You always follow the path of your heart before your head. Then his eyes turned to Ethan. Human, you have seen what was not meant for outsiders. The Hall of Memories holds truths that shape our identity. You will not speak of it to your commanders. Ethan nodded calmly. I understand, but I can't unsee what I saw. Your people knew mine long before now. Don't you want to know why? Veltron hesitated. Curiosity can awaken ghosts better left asleep. Cerie's voice cut through the silence. If the stories of the first ones are true, then our survival may depend on those ghosts. Let me show him the archives again. The elder stared at her for a long time, then gave a slow nod. Very well. But the human bears the risk. The archives react to will and memory. If the link rejects him, it could destroy his mind. Ethan smiled faintly. I've had worse briefings. The archives were deeper than before. They entered through a passage lit by floating orbs that hummed softly, alive with static. Cerie walked ahead, her fingers brushing the crystal walls as if greeting an old friend. When they reached the main vault, the air seemed heavier, as if filled with invisible energy. At the center stood a circular platform surrounded by 6 monoliths. Each glowed faintly with alien symbols. Cerie stepped onto the platform, motioning Ethan to follow. The memories are sleeping, she said. We must wake them. How? he asked. By touching truth, she replied. She placed her hand on one of the pillars. A beam of soft light rose from its surface, wrapping around her arm like silk. Ethan hesitated but followed, pressing his palm against another. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then his body jerked as light surged upward, connecting the two beams above their heads. The air shimmered, and the vault came alive. Images flashed before his eye, stars being born. Ships crossing galaxies, faces both human and alien. Voices whispered in languages he half understood. Then one voice cut through clearly, deep and human. If you are hearing this, it said, then our mission failed, but hope remains. Ethan's heart pounded. The voice continued, calm and steady. We came to Veganine in the year 2127 on a research expedition. Our drive malfunctioned. We crashed, losing all contact with Earth. The Thaleri found us. We helped rebuild their dying reactors and gave them part of our energy core. It reignited their world's core. Before we died, we left a message for the day humanity found its way here again. The recording flickered, revealing the holographic image of a man in a worn Earth uniform. His nameplate read Commander Michael Ward. Ethan's breath caught. That's my family name. The man continued, to whoever carries this mark, remember, we came not as conquerors, but as kin. Protect this world as your own. The image faded into light. The platform dimmed slowly, leaving silence behind. Ethan stood frozen, his chest tight. He had my last name, he whispered. Sarai looked at him, her expression unreadable. Then it seems your blood remembers what your people forgot. He turned to her, still shaken. If he was one of us, then humans and Thalari were connected all along. That symbolite wasn't coincidence. It was family. Sarai's gaze softened. You carry his face in yours. Perhaps destiny runs in the same shape. For a long moment, neither spoke. The vault pulsed gently around them, as if listening. Then the floor trembled. Alarms echoed through the chamber in low, resonant tones. Sarai's eyes widened. The core field is destabilizing. The storm drained too much energy. If we do not repair it soon, the planet will freeze. Ethan's training kicked in. Your core, how? Is it powered? A fusion lattice deep beneath the crust, she said quickly. But it's failing. He thought fast. Then I can help. Our ships use a similar system. If I can access your reactor interface, I might stabilize it. Sarai hesitated. Your council forbids interference. I don't care, he said firmly. If your world dies, so does the truth we just found. She stared at him, then nodded. Then come. We'll face the council together. The Grand Council Hall was vast, a ring of glowing thrones surrounded by blue fire. The elders sat in silence as Sarai and Ethan entered. The floor mirrored the stars above, giving the illusion that they were walking on the heavens. Elder Voltron's voice filled the hall. You bring a human into sacred space again, Sarai. What defiance drives you this time? She raised her chin. The truth you buried. The first ones were his kind. He carries their name, their mark. And he carries the knowledge to save our core. Murmurs spread through the council. One elder leaned forward, her voice sharp. Even if he speaks truth, we cannot let an outsider touch the heart of our world. Ethan stepped forward. With respect, your world's heart is dying. If you wait for permission, there won't be a world left to save. Voltran's eyes narrowed. And why would you risk your life for a people not your own? Ethan took a deep breath. Because maybe they were my own once. Because someone from my bloodline gave your people fire before, and I'm not going to let that fire go out. The hall went silent. For a moment, even the lights seemed to dim. Then the eldest of the council, a frail Thaleri woman whose skin shimmered like old glass, spoke. Let him try. The others turned to her in shock. She smiled faintly. The first ones promised they would return when our light faded. Perhaps they have kept their word. Voltran bowed his head. So be it. The human may descend to the core. But if he fails, the fault will be his alone. Sarai's eyes met Ethan's. Then we'll fail together, she said quietly. The descent was long and dizzying. They traveled in a lift made of energy beams that carried them miles underground. The heat grew unbearable, but Sarai's armor projected a cooling field around them. Beneath them stretched the core lattice, a vast spinning network of glowing rings suspended in liquid crystal. Streams of plasma flowed between them like rivers of light. Ethan stepped to the control platform, his eyes scanning the alien interface. "It's beautiful," he murmured, "and barely stable." Sarai watched him work, her hands trembling slightly. "We built this from memory," she said. "From the fragments your ancestors left, but we never understood the full pattern." "That's because it wasn't just energy," Ethan said. "It's harmony. You're balancing resonance between fields, not just fuel." She frowned. "Harmony. Think of it like music. Every part of the system has to sing the same note, or it all collapses." He adjusted the controls, matching frequencies manually. The lattice responded, its light growing steadier. But then an alarm blared. A surge rippled through the chamber, throwing him off balance. Sarai caught his arm, holding him steady. "What happened?" she asked. "Feedback loop," he said. "It's rejecting the new sequence. I need a stabilizer. Something organics, something alive to sync with the core." She looked at him, then at the mark on her chest. "The chosen star responds to life signatures." Before he could protest, she stepped forward and placed her hand on the main conduit. The emblem on her armor glowed brighter, connecting with the core's pulse. Energy arced between her and the reactor, and the feedback stopped instantly. The light turned from red to blue, stabilizing at last. Ethan stared in awe. "You did it," she smiled faintly, though her face was pale. "We did it together." The hum of the core deepened, spreading warmth through the ground. Far above, on the surface, the planet's light brightened again. The veganine sun began to rise stronger than before, but Sarai swayed on her feet, weak from the energy transfer. Ethan caught her before she fell. "Hey, stay with me." "You're okay." Her eyes fluttered open, faintly glowing. "It worked, didn't it?" "Yeah," he said softly. "It worked." The sun climbed higher over Veganine, spilling soft gold across the crystalline city. The glow of the rebuilt core had not only returned warmth to the planet, but also a sense of hope. Ethan walked alongside Sarai, both observing the citizens of the Thaleria as they began to emerge from their homes. The air was alive with whispered excitement. Word of the core stabilization had spread quickly. The people looked to Sarai and Ethan as symbols of something larger than themselves. But peace, Ethan knew, was always fragile. As they entered the Grand Council Hall, the elders' faces betrayed unease. While the planet's energy had been restored, the Council's fear of dependency on humanity ran deep. Some argued that allowing a human to influence Veganine's future was dangerous, while others, inspired by Sarai's courage, quietly supported cooperation. The elder who had previously permitted Ethan's intervention, stepped forward. "You have done what many believed impossible," he said solemnly. "But now, the council must decide. Will the humans be friends, or will they become our masters?" His gaze shifted sharply toward Ethan. "We cannot allow pride to blind reason." Ethan bowed slightly. "I came to help, not to command. Your world's strength is your own. I am only here because I was asked to understand, not to take control." A murmur spread through the council. One elder, a tall figure with hair like flowing silver ribbons, leaned forward. "And yet the marks of the first ones show that your species has walked this path before. If we accept aid from humanity now, will we always rely on it?" Sarai stepped forward, her eyes flashing determination. "We will not rely. We will learn. He helped us because he is human, yes, but also because he understands. This is not about submission, it is about choice." An older council member scowled. "Choice. You speak lightly of choice, girl. Every alliance carries weight. Your world has only just seen the light of its core restored. Are you prepared to risk our independence?" Ethan held his hands in front of him calmly. "Your people have survived for thousands of years without me. My presence does not diminish that. But imagine what we can do together, now that the knowledge of the first ones is rediscovered. Imagine preventing disasters before they come, instead of reacting when it's too late. The room fell silent, each elder weighing the words. Then the eldest spoke, her voice trembling with both age and authority. Perhaps the test is not whether we trust humanity, but whether humanity deserves our trust. She turned to Sarai. You brought him here willingly. Will you stand with him in this decision, knowing the consequences? Sarai met Ethan's gaze. Her expression softened, and she nodded. I will stand with him. Not because he is human, but because he acted when action was needed. I know he will not fail. Beltran exhaled slowly, his shoulders relaxing slightly. Very well. The Council will allow you both to demonstrate the strength of this alliance. You have a window of 10 rotations. In that time, you will prove whether humans and Thaleri can work as equals, or if our fears are justified. Ethan glanced at her. 10 rotations. That gives us time. Sarai's lips pressed together. Time, yes, but pressure as well. Every action we take will be watched. Failure is not an option.
Oh.
The following days were intense. Ethan and Sarai worked tirelessly, combining human engineering knowledge with Thaleri technology. They began with the planetary communications grid, integrating human signal systems with the Thaleri energy lattice. It was slow and meticulous work, requiring patience and cooperation. Ethan marveled at Sarai's intellect, her ability to anticipate problems and adapt. She learned quickly, faster than any human colleague he had ever known. During one late session in the lab, minor energy surge knocked several panels offline. Ethan rushed to stabilize the system, his fingers flying across the interface. Sarai helped, her hand hovering just above the control panel, adjusting energy flows with precision. For a moment, they worked in perfect unison, almost wordlessly, moving as if they shared one mind. Ethan looked at her, noticing the faint pattern of the emblem still glowing softly on her chest. You know, he said lightly, that symbol doesn't just look good. It's practically a key. She glanced at him. A key to what? To history, to connection. It's proof that your people and mine have more in common than we realize. He paused. And it's proof that humans can be trusted. Sarai's eyes softened, but she looked away. Trust is earned, human. Even with the first one's legacy, it must be earned every day. He smiled faintly. Then I'll work to earn it. But the Council's doubt remained. As Ethan and Sarai returned to the Grand Council Hall to report progress, a sudden alarm blared. Red lights filled the chamber, and the hum of the city shifted sharply. Ethan's stomach tightened. What now? An elder spoke quickly. The planetary shield generators are destabilizing. Vega9's outer orbit is being bombarded by a solar flare. If we cannot redirect the energy, the surface will suffer critical damage. Ethan's mind raced. Solar flares are natural, but with your current lattice, you can't absorb all of it. We need a human interface to stabilize the shield. A murmur of dissent ran through the council. We cannot allow an outsider near the shield controls. One elder protested. Sarai stepped forward, her hands raised in calm authority. You have seen what he can do. We cannot rely on luck now. He must help. Beltran nodded slowly. If you fail, the council holds you accountable. Proceed with caution. Ethan and Sarai raced to the control chamber, the city trembling slightly under the solar flare's intensity. Ethan quickly analyzed the shield matrix. It was similar to human planetary defense prototypes, but intertwined with Thaleri energy streams. One misalignment, and the entire system could collapse. He swallowed hard. Sarai, I need you to synchronize your energy with the lattice. Only your connection can stabilize the feedback. She hesitated for a brief moment but nodded. Do it. Together, they placed their hands on the interface. The emblem on Sarai's chest flared softly, resonating with the shield network. Ethan adjusted human control sequences, matching them to the Thaleri energy. The system groaned under the pressure, lights flickering violently. Outside, lightning-like arcs of energy danced across the horizon. For hours they worked, every movement precise. Ethan coordinated the patterns, while Sarai provided life's energy resonance. They communicated in short, urgent phrases, their focus absolute. Neither of them spoke about fear. There was no time. Only concentration and a shared determination that failure was not an option. Finally, the hum of the shield deepened, steadying across the planet's surface. The arcs of energy outside subsided, replaced by the soft glow of the restored lattice. Ethan exhaled heavily, stepping back. Sarai's chest heaved slightly, but her eyes shone with pride. "We did it," he said quietly. She smiled faintly. Together, despite the success, not everyone was convinced. As they returned to the council, a new elder stepped forward, one who had been silent until now. "The humans saved us today," he said, his voice deliberate. "But what prevents them from using this knowledge against us tomorrow? What prevents them from claiming Veganine as their own?" Sarai turned to him, her eyes blazing. "Because the humans here have no desire for conquest. They act only when necessity demands it," Ethan nodded. "And because I know that failure is not an option for me. Not just for you, but for the memory of the first ones who came before." The elder's gaze softened, though doubt lingered. Time will tell. Sarai placed a hand on Ethan's arm, grounding both herself and him. "Let them watch. We have already proven the strength of this alliance. Words alone cannot undo that." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then we wait and we keep proving it." Over the following days, the citizens of Veganine began to notice subtle changes. The city's energy became more vibrant. Communication channels stabilized faster than anyone had thought possible. And wherever Syria walked, people whispered about the human who had worked alongside her, saving the world with courage and ingenuity. Ethan, meanwhile, began learning more about the Thaleri culture. He marveled at their intricate rituals, their art, and their music. But what fascinated him most was Sarai herself. She moved through the world with grace, yet she was unafraid to confront danger or make difficult decisions. She had taught him patience, listening, and the subtle balance between humility and courage. One evening, they returned to the surface observatory, watching the twin suns dip below the horizon. The sky glowed with colors Ethan had never seen on Earth-deep purples, blending into bright greens and soft pinks. "You've done well," Sarai said quietly. "You've taught me well," he replied. "Without your guidance, I wouldn't have understood the lattice." Her smile was soft, almost shy. "Perhaps one day your people will see what I see now. That humanity can be more than we imagined." Ethan looked at her, realizing that for the first time in his life, he felt not like a visitor, but like part of something greater. "Then I'll keep working to deserve it." The emblem on Sarai's chest shimmered faintly, pulsing with light as if acknowledging his words. Ethan understood then that this symbol, once a mystery, was now a bridge, connecting past and present, human and Thaleri. And as the stars began to appear in the Veganine sky, brighter than ever after the storm, Ethan knew that this alliance was only the beginning. The first ones had left a legacy, but it was now up to humanity and the Thaleri to continue it together. The next morning, Veganine gleamed like a jewel under twin suns. The city hummed softly, the vibrations of the core reaching every corner, filling the streets with warmth and life. Ethan walked alongside Sarai, both surveying the thriving citizens, who now looked to them as symbols of hope. But the Grand Council's unease lingered. Though the core was stable and the solar flare threat had passed, some elders still doubted whether humans could be trusted in the long term. Ethan sensed that today would be a test unlike any other. Their path led them to the council chamber, where Valtron and the other elders waited. Their faces were a mixture of relief and caution, some masking skepticism behind carefully measured expressions. The chamber's crystalline floor reflected the sunlight, scattering rainbows across walls and faces, giving the space a surreal aura. It was a moment of tension. And both Ethan and Sarai understood that words alone would not decide the future. They needed results. Valtron rose, his silver hair catching the light. "The Council acknowledges your success in stabilizing the planetary core and defending against the solar flare," he said. "But our people have questions. Today, We will see if the bond between humans and Thalaria is strong enough to last beyond necessity. Ethan inclined his head. I understand. I am ready. Sarai's voice cut through the hall, steady and commanding. The test is not only about trust, but cooperation. If we fail, our planet suffers. If we succeed, our worlds will thrive together. The council murmured among themselves, and then the eldest spoke. Then let the trial begin. You must demonstrate your ability to coordinate the defense and infrastructure of Veganine over the next rotation. Your plan must prevent disaster, even if unforeseen challenges appear. Ethan exchanged a glance with Sarai. A rotation is a day-by-your-time measurement, he said softly. We have 24 hours. That's enough if we move quickly, Sarai nodded. We will begin with the shield perimeter. Then we will optimize energy distribution for the city's core functions. Follow my lead. They moved quickly, their steps echoing through the crystal corridors of the energy nexus. Ethan's mind raced as he memorized each interface, each control panel, and the subtle differences between human systems and Thalari technology. Sarai's guidance was precise, her hands flowing over the controls with elegance. Every movement amplifying or redirecting energy streams. For hours, they worked in seamless coordination, stabilizing power flows, reinforcing shield arrays, and recalibrating communications nodes. During a brief pause, Ethan leaned back against a console and exhaled. You're incredible, he said. I've never seen anyone understand energy systems like this. Sarai looked at him, her eyes softening. And yet you are not far behind. You adapt quickly. That is why I trust you. The compliment caught him off guard, but he smiled faintly. Then we make a good team. Her lips curved in a subtle smile. Yes, we do. But this is only the beginning. The council watches everything. They will not forgive mistakes. Outside the chamber, the city began to shimmer as the energy grid adjusted to their commands. Lights stabilized across districts and faint beams of protective shields extended far into the atmosphere. For a moment, it seemed as if nothing could go wrong. But Ethan knew better. Nature and physics often defied prediction, especially on a world with living crystal cores and twin suns. A sudden vibration shook the nexus. Alarms blared, red lights cutting through the soft glow. Ethan's heart pounded as he raced to the nearest console. Incoming solar microburst, he shouted. It's hitting the shield perimeter directly. We need to redistribute energy immediately. Sarai's hand flew over the controls. Divert all reserves to the northern quadrant. I'll stabilize the lattice resonance. For the next tense hour, the two of them worked tirelessly. Sparks of energy arced dangerously close to the control panels, and the hum of the core grew unnervingly loud. Citizens in distant streets watched in awe as the shield shimmered and rippled under the assault. Ethan synchronized human emergency protocols with Thalari lattice stabilization, while Sarai infused her life energy resonance to maintain equilibrium. Every second felt like a lifetime, yet they moved as one, instinctively anticipating each other's actions. Finally, the alert ceased. The shields held, and the lattice stabilized. Ethan slumped slightly, wiping sweat from his brow. We did it. The city is safe. Sarai exhaled, her body trembling slightly from the effort. Yes, thanks to both of us. Your skill, your courage, it saved Veganine today. Ethan glanced at her. No, it was you. You guided every step. I just followed. She shook her head. Together, then. That is the truth. The council reconvened to assess the results. Voltron looked upon them with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The trial has been completed, he said. The shields held. The core remains stable. The energy grid functions better than before. It seems the humans and Thalari can indeed work together. Younger council member raised a concern. But what of dependence? Today, the humans' guidance was essential. What if tomorrow another disaster strikes, and humans are not present? Sarai stepped forward, her voice steady. Dependence is a fear of the past. Today, we have learned cooperation. Tomorrow, we will have understanding. If humans and Thalari can solve this problem together, We will face the next with wisdom, not fear, Ethan added quietly. We are not here to replace you. We are here to work with you. And I will remain as long as I am needed, because what we built today is not about control, it's about trust. The council sat in silence for long moments, considering the words. Then the eldest elder spoke. Perhaps this is the beginning. The first ones left us a gift, and you, human, have honored it. You have proven that humanity is more than curiosity or ambition. You are capable of understanding, patience, and courage. Valtron nodded. It is decided. Humans may remain in Veganine in an advisory capacity, but they are no longer outsiders. They are partners. A wave of relief passed over the room. Ethan glanced at Sarai, and she gave him a small, proud smile. For the first time, he felt fully accepted not just by one individual, but by an entire civilization. As the council adjourned, Sarai led Ethan to a terrace overlooking the city. The twin suns were setting, casting long golden shadows over the crystalline buildings. The air was warm, the light gentle. Citizens moved below, returning to their lives. Yet now they carried hope in their steps. You have changed things, Sarai said softly, standing close to him. Not just for the council, but for everyone. Veganine will remember today. Ethan looked out over the horizon. We changed it together. I just didn't expect it to feel like this. He glanced at her. Like we really belong. Sarai's gaze met his, steady and unflinching. You do belong. The first ones would be proud. And I am proud of you. He felt a warmth spread through him. For so long, he had traveled the stars seeking purpose. He had wondered if humanity could truly make a difference among the countless worlds. And now, standing beside Sarai, he knew that purpose wasn't distant, it was alive here. In Veganine, in the alliance they had forged, and in the connection between two very different species, Sarai reached out, her hand resting lightly on the emblem that had caused the first misunderstanding. Do you remember what you said when you first saw this? She asked, a hint of playful teasing in her tone. Ethan smiled faintly. I said it was proof of connection. Proof that your people and mine have more in common than we realize. She laughed softly, the sound like wind through crystal trees. And now? She asked. Now, he said, I know it's proof that our worlds can be stronger together, and that sometimes misunderstandings lead to the greatest discoveries. For a long moment they stood there, watching the sun set, the city shimmering below. Ethan knew this was a turning point, not only for him or for Sarai, or even for Veganine, but for humanity's place among the stars. He had once stared at a symbol, unsure of its meaning. Now he understood its power, not as decoration, not as a mark of rank, but as a bridge between worlds. A reminder that connection, courage, and trust could change everything. The wind stirred, carrying faint, melodic sounds from the city below. Ethan turned to Sarai. So, why did you ask me about staring at your chest in the first place? Her smile was subtle, warm, and knowing. Because at first, I thought you were vain. But now I see you were looking for understanding, and perhaps something more. He laughed softly, shaking his head. Something more? We've got a planet to save, remember? She tilted her head, her eyes glowing faintly as the twin suns dipped below the horizon. Perhaps saving a planet is the first step toward something greater. Ethan smiled. Then let's keep walking that path, together. As darkness fell, and the first stars appeared in the Veganine sky, the city glimmered like a beacon of hope. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors, not as strangers, but as allies. And in the quiet moments between action and reflection, Ethan realized that this was the true meaning of the first one's legacy. Not just survival, but unity, understanding, and the courage to face the unknown together. He glanced once more at Sarai. The alien girl who had challenged him, guided him, and now stood beside him as a friend and partner. The symbol on her chest pulsed softly in the fading light, a gentle reminder that the universe had a long memory and that humanity was finally remembering its place among the stars.